How to get recommended by AI. So first off, who I am, founder of Handyman Marketing Pros, co-host on the Handyman Success Podcast. I'm a business coach at the Handyman Journey, co-founder of Handyman Champion CRM, but I'm actually just a pretty regular dude. I just know an above average amount of information about handyman businesses, and I absolutely love that. Um, Obviously, this is what we do, guys. You can learn more about our services, handymanmarketingpros.com. Check out our website. AI optimization is very in the front and center of what we're doing. Um, Also, where you get your information is very important. So I have this little slide in here to say that we live and train in this world of AI and SEO and websites. I've got a couple amazing results from just some bigger markets as far as client getting recommended number one in San Antonio, huge market. We also work with some exterior cleaning companies, one in Seattle. So just wanted to highlight a couple of those. So we're in this game in regular trainings and coachings, keeping up with industry trends. We have our own internal testing and monitoring, obviously, with all the clients that we get to work with. But overall, we are aligning our strategies for SEO, for AEO, which I will talk about here, answer engine optimization. That's the more technical term that the industry is defining AI optimization as, answer engine optimization. But overall, we are aligning all of our strategies to be an amazing best practice long-term marketing solution for small family-owned handyman businesses. So the plan, we'll be here about an hour, maybe longer. I've got time, happy to hang out and answer questions and have a conversation. Um, First off, I'm going to set the stage by just giving a little bigger picture about AI, search, etc., just to put a little bit more framing around this whole subject. We're going to dig into AI ranking signals, basically the actual things that go into ranking and being recommended in AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, etc. I've got these kind of bucketed into three main categories. One is kind of the essentials. Two is kind of that extra credit, that like next level, more professional flair, if you will. And thirdly, nice to have. And then of course at the end, live Q&A. So that's kind of the agenda. My bigger point that I want to emphasize here is I know there's lots of discussions about AI and all the different tools and things that can be done. I cannot overstate that you should focus on keeping calm and running an amazing business that truly serves your clients. Your reputation holds significantly more weight than any individual marketing tactic. Your reputation will carry you through shifts in the market and consumer buying behavior. Right now, it's largely in Google as far as online searches. Will that change? Probably. But your focus on being a great business leader, building great reputation, serving clients at a high level, that's going to carry you through all these shifts and changes that we're going to see in the coming years. And so I have this quote in here. What am I doing to ensure my business will be thriving in 5 years? Just a good kind of question to ponder as far as the longevity and being around for, not just getting through this year, but being around in 5 years. Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling up the chat here. I see Lane, Jennifer, hello from Canada. Gun Patel, I assume, my man, what's up? Alan Lee, Daniel, 5D Handyman, great seeing you again, man. Jody and Sunray, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining. Um, yeah, any questions? Pop them in the chat, guys. Great to see you all here. Danny from Effortless Repairs. Awesome, man. Thank you all for joining. So I'm going to do my best to pull up this chat here. So in the vein of keeping calm and building great business, I want to put a little framework around AI platforms in conjunction with the most popular online search tool, Google. These are stats from 2024. ChatGPT got 0.25% of total Google searches. You can see the stats on the left-hand side here. The number one takeaway here is that search is the number one tool for finding home services by a significant margin. And also Google search is growing between 2023 and 2024. They saw searches increase by nearly 22%, which is absolutely ridiculous for a company that size. So they will continue to evolve and advance. But that said, I'm really excited to see the 2025 stats because consumer behavior is changing. At its current state for searching for home services, Google is absolutely still the king on where people are going to find local home services. But the reason why you're all here and the reason why we pay attention to this stuff is to stay in front of the game, make prudent decisions as we add layers to our marketing. And last kind of little point I wanted to touch on as far as how people use AI. Um, it's you can see the chat little bar graph here. Um, Informational, navigational, commercial, transaction, and this big slice of unknown is kind of like how a lot of us use AI a lot, which is non-search like functions is kind of the definition of this. So creating images, summarizing text, writing code, doing tasks. Uh, I'm sure lots of students are using it for homework. I know I certainly would have myself. So it's good to understand how people are using AI. So take a quick drink break here. Let's do it. So AEO stands for Answer Engine Optimization. This is the fancy dancy $5 marketing word that marketers love to make around certain things. So this is basically AEO is SEO, but for AI optimization, answer engine optimization. So when you guys see that around on the internet, AEO, that's what that stands for. And it essentially means what are the tasks that are going into being recommended on AI. Um, In early 2025, very recently here, the strategy was get mentioned on Reddit, get a few BBB reviews, and you were ranking number one in ChatGPT. It was this way for quite a few months. And so I share this to say that the algorithm and how these things work are changing rapidly. However, it is in a more solid place. While I wouldn't call it solid at all, but it's certainly more solid than what it was when literally 70% of ChatGPT's information came from Reddit threads. And so you can see here why getting mentioned on Reddit was just the instant way to get recommended by AI platforms. And also, they at a time really just loved BBB. Like, forget Google, forget Yelp, forget Facebook. BBB is what matters most when it comes to judging a business's character. So you can see how disconnected that is from reality. So I share this to say that the algorithm is changing rapidly, just like Google, but I obviously because AI is newer, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, etc., things shift, things change. So you will see different results like you would see in Google, but especially so with AI moving from 70% Reddit to now the initial information is largely dug up from websites. Just want to emphasize that things change pretty quickly. All right. So, like I mentioned, we're going to have three different sections here. First one being kind of essential, big ones to focus on. Two, that extra credit for anyone that's a little bit more established in the game. Third are kind of those nice to haves. And also, I moved sections in there that aren't as applicable to handyman industries or the handyman industry to trades. There is if we were all focused in blog content or in e-commerce, this would be a totally different presentation, guys. Like the world is absolutely dramatically transforming for anyone selling stuff online or that gained ad revenue from driving traffic, like the Family Handyman or any kind of popular blogs, news sites, whatever that you guys might visit. Their world is absolutely dramatically shifting because of AI and getting those answers, finding shopping tips so much easier. Home service is a little bit more insulated. So it's I think it's a benefit inherently for being a home service business owner as far as AI really crushing e-commerce. So factor number one, and you guys are going to be able to tell if you followed kind of our stuff for a while, a lot of this overlaps with SEO. Search engine optimization, being ranked on Google. And the reason is these are algorithms, these are robots that are going around and they're collecting public information. So websites, online reviews, et cetera. So there's a lot of overlap. This is actually one that is more important for AEO, AI optimization. Um, and the bigger point of that is five-star reviews coming in, not only volume, but what's called review velocity. Having a system in place to consistently build reviews every single week from as many clients as possible is important. Um, just because you've got over 100 reviews, if you are not consistently getting reviews, you will see bigger penalties as far as how AI is recommending businesses now as compared to Google. However, review velocity is also an increasing ranking factor for Google. So that is a newer factor over the last couple of years when it comes to SEO. But if you do not have a system in place to consistently build one, two reviews per week, depending on the size of your business, that is very, very important. Have a system for automating those reviews. So AEO, AI really shines a light on relevance of diversified review strategies. Again, this is the biggest difference between SEO, which is Google's the king, Google reviews. But AI does take into a wider account of various review platforms like BBB, like Yelp, like Facebook, any place that can kind of see what people are saying about your business. So my guidance here is any really great clients, or if you know someone came from Yelp, for example, send them to a platform that is where they came from, or really great clients. Be like, hey, I know this is strange, but can you leave me a review on BBB? I know no one goes there or uses that, but it does shine a light on kind of picking up a diversified reviews from time to time. But I still recommend emphasizing Google. Verified business listings consistency NAP, name, address, phone. This is referring to like citations, directory listings. I've got on here the most high value general business listings. So looking at Google, Yelp, Facebook, these are kind of really commonplace. You guys absolutely need to have those algorithms expect to see that from any local home service business. Um, so make sure you're on those. And then other notables are Bing Places, Apple Maps, MapQuest, BBB, Yellow Pages, etc. So do create these high value general business listings. If any of our clients here were running your SEO, we do have already got those in place for you. So being found, having a broader online footprint, not just Google, not just a Facebook page, but being on Yellow Pages. Is anyone going to find you on Yellow Pages? No, they're not. But AI bots, Google bots, the algorithms are taking in the whole of what they're finding about your business. And the more things that they find, the more they can kind of attribute to your brand. So these high value general business listings, this would be a great action item for anybody here. If you don't have those set up, those are really high value ones that, it's just a pretty straightforward setup process. Bing does require some verification. Sometimes Apple does as well. And most of those will sell you advertising. You do not have to pay for them. Okay. High quality, original, helpful on-site content. Early this year, I would say get on Reddit and work the Reddit threads. Fortunately, it has bounced to a more realistic way that it gets information. So it is going to your guys' websites or just the relevant businesses that someone would be searching for to first source information about licensing, services, insurance, etc. So having a professional website, clear list of services, service areas, the towns that you're actually working in, useful information like minimum pricing, showcasing your insurance, all that good kind of business information is great to kind of stack and organize into your website. We're going to discuss a little bit more the more helpful, specific, ongoing content, but answering FAQs, showcasing work is really impactful content to be showcasing on your website. It's just topical to what someone's going to be searching for. If someone's looking for the best handyman, if you're having content on your site around drywall projects, painting projects, all these different handyman projects, showcasing where they are, you're building this topical authority around relevant, like related keywords in the handyman space, and kind of stacking your website with content that is what these algorithms are looking for to attribute authority and kind of bumping you up in their own kind of ranking algorithm. So that's highlights quality website content is very important for ranking in AI. So it's easy, fast, mobile friendly user experience. Your site needs to be mobile optimized. It's been mainstay for a while. So those are kind of like those absolute essentials, guys. Um, Next, we're going to go into kind of the extra credit signals that elevate, if you will, that kind of sweeten the pot. And this next one is, I kind of alluded to, we'll talk more about this. Fresh, recently updated content to your website, to social, to Google. Posting new content is the best way to kind of poke an algorithm and say like, hey, I'm here, here's the stuff that we're doing, here's the kind of projects we're completing, here's where we're doing it. So adding content to your online presence is a great way to essentially kind of continue that open line of communication with these algorithms and staying relevant. And you cannot avoid the 5-star review component, providing great service. These are just these little kind of micro things within the space. You need to be providing high quality service, be getting 5-star reviews online. But when it comes to content, um, really great content ideas for any handyman business is project highlights. I've got an example over here. This is part of our SEO process. We post actual projects that people are completing. It's very future proof, algorithm proof, as you call it. No one can make this up. Like these are unique projects that are happening in a location for a customer at a certain point in time. Very different than historically. Really valuable blog SEO content was around articles like top 10 home maintenance tips in Missouri in the wintertime, whatever. So I have noted here this blog article content should be um, like highly localized and unique. Avoid generic like articles that frankly you can find anywhere online or that it's just not actually that helpful. So the quality of your content, the localization of it, it is important for any article related stuff, but most notably creating content around projects you're completing and answering FAQs, like what questions are people actually asking you on a regular basis? What questions might they be thinking, like pricing, that you could outlay on the website in your online marketing? That's the highest value kind of ongoing content that you can do for your handyman business. Next, we got targeted city and service pages. This has kind of been a mainstay for Google and SEO. All is the same for AEO, AI optimization. The more kind of content that you have that connects your brand, your website, your business, and all the things that they're finding about you with more specific services, with more specific actual towns that you're providing service within, is very much relevant when it comes to ranking in AI. So again, this is a big crossover with SEO. Let me pull up the chat here, see if there's any questions. Um, there's like a blue marker on my screen. Does anyone else see that green marker? Is that just me? No? Okay. Okay, ranked on Nextdoor from the Honeydew Lister, David and Scott. What's up, guys? All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, third-party mentions. This one's really cool. This has always been a great one for ranking online and just really good branding, natural community engagement. So what to note here? Any local awards? Shout out to Keith Schmidt. I think he's in here somewhere. I got awarded like a local San Antonio like recognition for one of the best home repair companies in the city. Showcasing your local awards online on the website. Great stuff. Sponsorships, referral partners, natural brand mentions, home shows, community engagement, anything that your business is going to be naturally tied to. Like when you win a local award, they're going to have likely an article somewhere, some social posts, might go to your website. It's definitely going to mention your brand name. Even just your brand name, maybe even tagging your Facebook profile is really powerful when it comes to AI. Because they are picking up this more user engagement, which that's a factor we'll get to later, is more just how much engagement, how much are people talking about your business online. So these that are in this list are really great ways to build natural mentions and connections with your local community. You might be wondering, Old Town Pizza, what on earth is that doing here? Old Town Pizza is a really great pizza joint from Auburn, California, where I used to live for a number of years. And their marketing was really, really simple. They engage with the community. If there was a school event, PTO, a Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development Council meeting, some sporting events with kids, teams, and stuff, they would sponsor it and bring free pizzas for everybody. For them, it was just a marketing expense. They would always be that local company that brought a bunch of pizzas, and they were really good pizzas. And naturally, they built up an incredible local brand, tons of mentions online. Even to today, I was looking them up this morning, actually, when I added them to this slide. Um, the constant chatter from the community of them being involved to give free pizzas, to just be in all the most important places, Boys and Girls Club. You get the idea. So, just natural community engagement, sponsorships is a really fantastic way to naturally build third-party mentions. And even more importantly, like, yeah, it can help with getting recommended on AI, absolutely helps with getting ranked on Google, but you're building a brand, you're connecting with local people, you're creating an expansive referral network, people that are at some point going to hire you, refer you to their friends, families, and neighbors. So the bigger point here, guys, is that community engagement is so critical to being the local hometown handyman company. And there's tons of kind of residual benefits when it comes to ranking in your online marketing. Any questions about what we've covered so far? I'm trying not to go too slow, but not too fast, because I certainly want to leave plenty of time at the end for questions. All right, all right. This one's super technical. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. If you've got a web developer, make sure that your structured data schema markups all in place. If you have a DIY website, the one thing I will say here, H1, H2, H3s, you might be like, I remember seeing those in Squarespace or whatever. Every page should have one H1. Your H2 should sit underneath H1. So you need to have good structure. Like this basically is a way for to create like chapters and sub chapters on a web page. Do not have really disorganized heading structures that will absolutely confuse search engines and AI. At the end of the day, they are reading websites, and this is really classic website SEO stuff that helps to structure the site in a way that can be read by robots. Um, that's kind of the most tactical thing that I want to cover here, but this is a little bit more technical on the SEO side. But make sure it's just really solid, optimized site structure here that any professional site should maintain. Any DIY site, make sure that the headings are not all over the place, that you have one H1 per page. Do not have multiple H1s on each page. It's the biggest way to really confuse search engines and AI. Demonstrated expertise and credentials. Go into the weeds of your experience of your credentials. Okay. When you're like on your about page on your website, don't just say licensed and insured. Like, talk about your experience. How long have you been in business? How long have you been in the trades? Licensing. What kind of licensing do you have? Is it a local business license? I mean, a lot of businesses have multiple licenses. Flesh out all of your credentials, insurance information. How much are you insured up to? On our client sites, we always collect that information so we can say insured up to 2 million or whatever. It's a really big trust factor here when it comes to the consumer visitor side. But AI is crawling this stuff. I encourage everybody, if you haven't already, do some of your own like searches on ChatGPT and other tools, like what are the best handyman companies in, X area or whatever. You're going to see under the results, it's going to pull like they are insured up to. They have these kind of licenses. They have this many reviews. Like it is actually reading the stuff. The owner has over 20 years of experience. So really fleshing out the details of you, your company, your team is all amazing stuff because AI does a better job at really collecting all of it and summarizing it as compared to SEO. Google is just serving results. So that's a bigger top level benefit. When someone goes to Google, they're looking for results. When someone goes to AI, they're looking for answers, recommendations. That's why AEO, answer engine optimization. So the more context you can provide, it's got a lot more leg room here as far as just the algorithm goes. But again, the residuals are insane because you're building trust with people. You're building relationship with them by telling them more about you and your experience. Also, local or industry rewards and accolades. Great stuff to implement on in your marketing on your website. It is accruing this stuff and mentioning it in their snippets when people are looking around. Don't be humble when it comes to your expertise and credentials. Okay, this is my favorite one. Original human created video and visuals. I I'm willing to die on the hill that I believe humanity wants to digest human content for the most part. Do take the time to take nice photos of yourself, headshots, your team. Here I've got two examples. Shout out to JR Crowell, Steady Home Maintenance, if he's in here. Um, they have the best photos. Their team, they're just so the culture, the vibe, the kind of branding they exude just from their photos, and of course how they actually answer the phone and treat people. It's just so effective. This is AI generated over here. You can tell by the awkward, the awkward wrench holding, and just you could just maybe I'm a little naive because I just spend all my time on online and looking at the stuff, but for me, it's pretty glaring difference. Do take the time to create human video, photos. It's going to have a lot more leg room. It's going to develop real trust with people. I think using AI generated avatars and all this stuff absolutely has its place. But when it comes to really highly viewed imagery on your flyers, like on your main website page, maybe on the cover photo of your Facebook, take the time to have something real, authentic of your team. AI can be absolutely wonderful to kind of at scale make more social content, maybe some images that are tied to your brand. But as far as the main ones, don't skimp on taking the time to get a nice photos of yourself, your team in front of the work vehicles, even something really simple. Don't overthink it if you don't have the nicest truck wrap or whatever. But do take the time to have some nice human created visuals to showcase on your marketing. Strong user engagement metrics. Anyone that's really working the socials, I know Tabitha, if she's in here, she is oh gosh, based out of Tulsa. She is just a magician when it comes to working Facebook. I remember when it was like on a coaching call or something that she described Facebook as the like the online kind of town square. That's what she described it. It's the online town square, and that's how she approached it of just showing up to town square, talking to people, meeting people. She engages in local Facebook community groups. Anyone really working social media, um, these engagement metrics of people engaging with your posts, commenting, engaging with your page. I think this is more relevant for bigger brands looking for like another thing to add to the equation. And it also underscores the best engagement is always from something more personal. I know David and Scott with Honeydew Lister in here. They do amazing work at just really personable, like personalized social media engagement. They get tons of likes and comments on their stuff. So they're a great example of using social media, making it personal, because those engagement metrics do send additional signals to AI that are picking that up in a much stronger way than, say, Google would be. Not getting a photo load here. Clear contact details and robust about info. This kind of relates to the previous point about your licensing, your insurance and stuff, but really flesh that out on your about page. So a authentic like about your company, the story, the photo that's not showing up here is a newer client of ours. He got a nice photo of himself and his wife. They've got their core values, their mission statement, their story about how they started the business, a real photo of them. Include here just those details that people might be wondering about you, about the company. It is a great place to add any awards, credentials, more detailed licensing information. So don't skimp on the about page and communicating your unique differentiators. Let me check the chat, make sure there's nothing here. All right. If there's anything I'm missing that is worthy to address, if Lauren or Lee can highlight when we're done here. It's hard to keep up with the chat. Okay, social proof and user-generated content. So this is kind of a bleed over with never stop building reviews. I love one of my favorite questions that I get is how many reviews should I get? And I say yes, just never stop. I remember someone in the Facebook group said, like, you should be getting as many reviews as the highest reviewed business in your area and then just keep going. It is hard to compete with like the franchises who just have that super dialed because they know that that works. Um, but the difference of this actual slide um, is user generated content, video testimonials. This is a little like, this is one of those that doesn't have as much application for the handyman industry as say other industries where user generated content, people engaging on your website, uploading media, etc., is going to be more relevant for some industries. But collecting video testimonials is great, showcasing your reviews across all your marketing channels. Social proof is just one of those fancy $5 marketing words for showcasing the great things that people say about your business. You should be really clearly displaying any reviews that are flowing into your business on your website, highlighting them on socials. AI is very much picking up what people are saying, and it's a really big highlight that they always showcase when you're looking at results. So social proof, most notably, just make sure you are not just getting the review, but how can that be implemented in a systematic way across your social media and email on your website. Video testimonials, that's always just icing and a cherry on top because that's the best kind of review. I know we've seen a handful of those. They're a little bit more finicky to get, but when you have those just amazing diehard fans of your service, everybody knows them. If they could do you a favor and film you a little testimonial video, that's great stuff to showcase anything, people saying awesome stuff about your business. AI is very much tuned into reviews across not just Google, but other platforms. Thought leadership and original insights. This one is, again, one of those that's not as applicable to the handyman industry, but I just wanted to give the full transparency here. For the entire like AI optimization, there's certainly avenues to build this up. We're actually working on this ourselves systematically to assign authorship to website content to the owners of handyman companies. So these are some ideas that I have to. So what is thought leadership content and original insights? Easy for consultants to kind of come up with this stuff, but how does a handyman business approach this? So, in my opinion, um, I already covered showcasing, explaining projects completed. So just highlighting your actual projects you're completing in your marketing. The two other ideas here is highly unique localized guides. I slightly touched on this, but think of that generic home maintenance tips article that you may have seen hundreds of times. It's certainly been written up by now, ChatGPT, probably tens of thousands of times every single day. But what about that unique localized home maintenance guide for your specific town with your specific weather and the things that your town might face? Easy examples would be in Florida or on the coast. You have hurricane seasons. In the Pacific Northwest, they got to get the moss removed from their roof every year. So think like what kind of really unique, localized, truly helpful information could I provide my audience, my clients? Again, it's a little bit more creative for the handyman industry than say if for consultants out there. But something to consider if you live in a more where there is some unique home maintenance things that could come into play. It directly ties to if you've ever considered having a home maintenance subscription plan where every quarter you go out to the house. That's really great starting point because you're looking at what are good springtime activities, summer, fall, winter, that we can come into this house and do these things. Why is that important? How should I communicate to my clients? You could basically rip a or dissect a annual home maintenance plan subscription and turn that into a kind of maintenance tips article that's highly localized and actually helpful, that would provide value to people. You need to provide value in your content. The last idea I have here is I was really big on networking when I had a local business. And if you aren't doing networking, by the way, one of the most highest impact things before you start looking at your schema markup, SEO stuff yourself, please do show up to your local chamber of commerce and networking. You will generate a lot of business from that over time. But I know being involved in these, you get lots of opportunities for presentations. So kind of using that home maintenance, commercial maintenance is also a great topic. Commercial clients are really amazing contracts and relationships to have. So what opportunities are there to have a presentation at your local chamber of commerce talking about facility maintenance to a group of business owners? That is an idea for kind of original insights, thought leadership that relates to being a handyman business owner. All right. Last section here. How we doing on time? Doing all right. Nice to have. Pricing information. Price minimums. If you want more specific price sheets, estimator tools are a little bit more common for remodeling contractors where someone can type in the kind of materials, the scope of the remodel they're looking to get done. The one disclaimer I'd have here is displaying pricing on your marketing and stuff is, there's a give take there because there's value that you can add in the sales process and the estimate process that someone might not get if they just saw your price and thought, it's a little too expensive for me, and they might not think you're expensive after that experience. Also, on the flip side of that, it prevents lots of tire kickers. So there's certainly sales conversion impact here, guys, by putting pricing on your marketing. So I just want to make that really clear. If you have really high minimums, Alan Lee's in here, their minimum's 195 for an hour of labor. And they choose to showcase that because they get a lot of inquiries and they just want to weed out those people. But when it comes to showcasing information, answering people's questions, putting some kind of price information on your website can be beneficial. But I would first look at the sales conversion impact before you look at the ranking impact because it's very marginal as compared to the real impact it could have on your sales, leads, conversion rates. So just make sure you are patient and prudent in any kind of price information displayed. A great starting place is a minimum. And if you do remodeling, there's lots of tools that can be created for creating estimates or ballpark prices with a little sliding tool. That's low-hanging fruit for remodelers or anyone doing remodels. Secure HTTPS website, you need an SSL certificate, HTTPS, it needs that little lock icon, it needs to be secure. That is a factor. Active owner responses to reviews. I love this one. Respond to all your reviews. People are reading them. Your prospects are reading, and it's an easy way to just show that you care enough to thank someone for taking the time to leave your business a review. It can be processed and made super, super efficient using AI. I would just advise that it's not robotic. It has a true expression of like, you didn't have to take 2 minutes to leave my business a review, which only benefits me and not you. Thank you so much for doing that. What an amazing thing. So do respond to those reviews. One of my favorite things to do. Industry awards, certifications, and badges. This was already kind of talked about as far as just anything that's awarded to you. Make sure that's thrown up on your website, on your about page, just further builds that credibility that AI digs in deeper to than Google does. All right, that covers everything I had planned for you guys. I am here for, I know 20 minutes will be an hour. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have and overall just help however I can. Again, I hope that everything we covered so far was digestible. Hopefully, a lot of it was actionable for you guys and educational. And again, the biggest thing I want to communicate is focus on growing an amazing business, provide a great client experience, build reviews, and do the prudent marketing things. And you will benefit from being recommended AI because at the end of the day, Google, AI, ChatGPT, people go to them to find results and answers. Their business relies on providing good answers. So they need to provide good handyman recommendations. And if you are actually being that good handyman and focused on the reviews and all these things we covered today, you're very authentically going to be ranking to be recommended. So that's my biggest encouragement for you guys. Never lose sight of that customer experience and that consistency in providing a 5-star experience for people that you're serving. Okay, questions. Let's see. Thanks, Richard. My guy, Mac. Appreciate the kind words, guys. It means a lot. Chad, what's up? You mentioned FAQs twice. Could you please expand on what you recommend we start doing here? And where do we want to get to see some results from this? So, FAQs, just be honest with yourself. Like, what are the most common questions that your customers are asking you in throughout the whole client experience, from when they find you, the estimate process, the pricing, when you show up, how you show up, Um, what questions might you get after the engagement? Really take an honest look at that whole journey. What questions would people have that you can answer on the front end and alleviate that anxiety by giving them answers. And also, it is great for SEO. It's great for AI because we want to answer people's questions that they're asking. And the more bold content is what questions are people thinking? Um, so, for example, just to plant the seed here of like what I mean by a bold question to answer that we are going to be boldly answering when Jason gets around to getting around to this homework item. But our client retention rate is 98 to 97.5%. Why do 2% of people leave? Well, we have that data, so we're going to answer that. So think about the questions that people are constantly asking your business, but also you could be bold and what are people actually thinking that is reasonable to answer that could help them, that could underscore your character, your truth that you display in your business and your client interactions. So that would be kind of my answer to FAQ content is just jot down all the questions that people commonly ask your business, write those down, send them to us. We'll get them implemented on your website and FAQ page. And also, it's great content to use in socials. So FAQs is really simply, what questions are your clients, prospective clients asking? What are they thinking? And proactively answer those questions on your website and your marketing. I hope that was helpful. Happy to expound on any of that. Let's see, Steven, I found that response to reviews a good place to use SEO and SEO and AEO verbiage when you respond. Um, so re keywords in reviews, in customer reviews, yes, those are a huge impact on your SEO, actually. Um, a client that leaves you a five-star review with some text, that's great. A client that leaves you a five-star review with some text that actually has keywords, so we're prompting them to like in the review ask, say this, say like, thank you so much for your business. We really appreciate it. If you don't mind taking a few minutes to leave us a review online, we would so greatly appreciate it. It's a huge help to our business. You could talk about the work that we did for you, upload some photos. Thank you so much again for your time and for your business. That's going to kind of in the prompt naturally encourage people to talk and just slightly mention they did a drywall patch for me and did excellent. Thank you so much. Boom, drywall, drywall patch, drywall repair. Keywords in the user review, photos and media uploaded with it. That is like the trifecta, the five stars, the keywords in the review, and the media. That is a huge knockout SEO win for your business. Your response is zilch, nothing, no impact. Do not keyword stuff a review response. It will do absolutely nothing but make it seem really weird and unnatural. Um, and it has no impact on rankings. That's one that Google kind of sniffed out. There was a short, brief period of time where you could absolutely just make some really strange keyworded review responses and it would work, but that got snuffed out really quickly. It has no impact. Does advertising spent on Google, Facebook ads, or other marketing impact AEO? That is a theory at this point, as it's always been for SEO. If you spend money on Google, do you get better Google results? Some people, I've seen data that says yes. I've seen data that says no. In our experience over the last 7 or 8 years, I don't think so. So as far as AI optimization and correlating that with ad spend, I have not seen any studies, research done on that. I would say no. I'd say maybe the only impact that maybe is not taken into account is when AI is doing that research, if they're seeing like your Google guaranteed or whatnot, is that attributing some more value to your brand? Um, it's a good thought, good question, but I would not spend money on Google or Facebook ads or something to strictly be recommended AI again because it is relatively marginal. A lot of this stuff is making sure that we are future proof, we are super relevant, that if consumer behavior for home services drastically changes over the coming years and everyone switches to AI tools, we're prepared for that. And that's where I love quality content, quality service is going to win because they rely on providing good results, and you have to be a good company to be a good result. Um, Is there a really good automated company you can recommend for pumping out review sheets for people? There's all kinds of review requests. Yeah, Nice Job's a really popular one. We actually just updated our programs. We've got a uh, we were inspired heavily by Nice Job, so we can help our clients with that. Um, there's all kinds of there's all kinds of software. I recommend integrating with your CRM. If your CRM has the option, Marquette Jobber, House Call Pro, Handyman Champion, um, set that up through your CRM. If you use a system like Nice Job, I know it integrates with other things. Like our system, we integrate it with your CRM. So when an invoice is marked paid or a job is marked complete, you're automatically sending that request. So there's lots of options there, Laney. I think Nice Job's 75 bucks a month is pretty dang expensive. But that said, if you're already on the program, Chad mentioned we use Nice Job. Um, there's certainly value there, obviously. I mean, they're hyper focused. I love that company because all they do is help build reviews. It looks like they also send out cookies to repeat customers. That's an amazing value add there. So as long as you find something that takes that off your plate, review asks should be a systematized part of your business. Anyone out there that does not because they're scared of like bad reviews, if you're focused on providing a high quality service, you're going to drown out any one-star reviews. The best businesses in the world, they get one-star reviews. So take heart. It's okay. I know amazing, amazing people, amazing businesses that have gotten one-star reviews, whether they screwed up, which we're all human, or it was just an unfair review, which that's a lot of them. But don't focus on the monsters under the bed, as you could say. Do automate the review ask process, especially if you're leaving 2, 3 reviews a week on the table. That is massive value and impact that's ultimately just going to drown out one-star, unpleasable people anyway. Okay, Tracy, hello. Let's see. Right now we use ClockShark, which supplies no follow-up process. I have not heard of that one. And I've heard of a lot of them. All my follow-ups are manual, which is taxing and tedious. Marquette was a great program I trial, which does it all, but unfortunately I have old dogs and they struggle with new tricks. What is the most effective way to follow up and secure those reviews? So I just kind of listed off some options. Alan Lee chimed in, nice job's a good solution. Yeah, our CRM Handyman Champion, that is a upcoming feature, is just totally automating that in a way that's like nice job. But I totally get it. Manual follow-ups for reviews, it's just not scalable. Even for owner operator, even smaller shops, it's just something that needs to be automated. Um, Richard, Farmer Mac, is there a way to track questions homeowners, property owners are asking near me to AI? So you could absolutely do some research and find that out. We're actually about to release a training on that. We'll email out. Everyone here is on our email list or a client of ours. So um, within the next few weeks, okay, Lauren's like she's an AI wizardress. But um, we are releasing a kind of AI prompting strategy. It's called CRIT, context, role, interview, task. We're going to be sending that out via email in the next few weeks here, Richard. So I will try to remember, man. I know we're on Facebook, so I'll try to remember to shoot that over to you. But that's a really effective way to prompt AI to kind of get answers to solve problems, and it certainly would have a great application for what you're looking to ask. For everyone in here, I would say the simplest way is talk when you go load up ChatGPT or whatever. Context is the most important thing that people misuse AI with. They ask it a question, but they don't provide any context about your business and the details that are kind of behind the scenes, if you will. So in that vein, when you pull up an AI tool, literally just say like, I own a handyman, professional handyman services in Fremont, California. I am trying to come up with frequently asked questions that I can address and use in my website and marketing. Provide tons of context about your business, like here's my minimum pricing, here's my focus services. Here are a few question examples that I know people are asking. Please give me some ideas of things that I can please give me some ideas about questions that prospective clients might be wondering about my handyman service. So I hope that that is helpful in kind of providing context about your company, about where you are, because you could provide some, bring in some seasonality there. I mean, Fremont's kind of like super nice all year round, so not much excitement there in the way of weather, except it gets pretty dang hot. Um, so give it context. That's the key to using AI. Communication's huge, giving it context. Speak to AI as if it's your friend. I love that. Yeah, a good friend that knows you very well. Don't try to hide facts from AI when you're trying to solve a problem. Again, we'll kind of really flesh this out in this crit prompt, which if we kind of draw up on questions here, I'm happy to kind of walk through that. But the more context, the closer of a friend it is, the better answers and help it would be able to provide. So that would be my response there. Mac is load up as much context about where you are, your services, your ideal clients, even your minimum pricing, and start kind of it'll give you a bunch of ideas to jump off on. Handyman champion in Canada. Yeah, it's coming. We just don't know when. With payment systems and stuff, it's a little different when you cross the borders into our friends in the north. Friends in the north. Any other questions, guys? If I missed something, I could scroll back up through here. Yeah, you bet, Chad. You bet. And like I mentioned on the front end here, we're going to be scheduling our second webinar in December, early December. So after kind of Thanksgiving, before the Christmas crazy, um, family and all that good stuff. It's going to be around creating your 2026 marketing plan. So I'm going to come with essentially a ton of really actionable tactics. And I know we're going to put together kind of a worksheet, like I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm not doing this, and I could do that. So to really get planned and organized for next year. So we're going to have another one like this, but around different topics. Right now, we're going to be we're committing to once every 2 months. Maybe once a month if people really enjoy this information and connecting. And yeah, it's been a great time. And I'm around. Technically 5 minutes. I've got at least 20 minutes here. Happy to hang out and answer questions, even if it's not about this subject. I'm here to help, guys. That's why I'm here.
So, Jason, if people have, let's just say, an extra 30 minutes a week, what would be one thing, they're using you for your website. What's one thing that they could do to kind of move that ticket, as far as like AEO goes?
Great question, man. 30 minutes a week and directly related to AI. I would be focusing firstly on assuming that assuming that you're pretty staying consistently booked. If you're having sales issues, investing owner time on AI optimization, there's better use of your time. So I do want to make that caveat because I'd say if someone's struggling with sales, investing time into networking, cold outreach, really sales generating activities where you can literally tie an hour to some revenue really easily, that's going to be, I don't want to skip that point. Um, 30 minutes a week and you're doing awesome. Everything's going great, hitting goals. Looking at more creative content around answering people's frequently asked questions, starting to work on a hyper localized home maintenance, commercial maintenance guide, um, even turning that into some kind of maintenance plan that you could start proactively signing up really amazing clients that are a great fit for a subscription-based preventative service for their home. All of that directly relates because any kind of home maintenance tips and hyper localized, super helpful is going to directly feed into something like that. So that's kind of my off the cuff answer of 30 minutes a week and everything else in business is great. You can never go wrong by answering frequently asked questions. And overall, um, I had an epiphany a couple years ago, or it was like a year and a half ago. I was looking at our website stats, and we like over in a month, like I think people spent in total like 10,000 hours or some ridiculous amount of hours on our website. And I was like, oh my gosh, like And I was looking at our website content. And I was like, I want to make this more helpful. People are spending hours. Like when you look at behavioral metrics on websites, even a site that's generating 50, 100 users a month, if they're spending at least a minute on there, 30 seconds is kind of a good behavioral metric benchmark. You're looking at hours and hours of real human time. And I think it's respectful. I think it's beneficial to your company and your business to maximize the time that people are spending researching you, trying to find answers. So I'm a huge advocate of creating really helpful content. So if everything else is super rosy in the business and you got an extra 30 minutes, um, I know not everyone that's not going to fall into their kind of sweet spot. Um, as far as what they're inclined to do, their passion, their skills. Another valuable one would be, engaging in local Facebook community groups, kind of hitting up that online town square, as Tabitha called it. I just love the way that that was expressed. It's going to have a direct impact on AEO, and also, of course, lead generation. Anything we can do that hits all the marks of sales, marketing, helpful content, the more boxes we can tick, the better. Yeah, one more question. It looks like Lauren's got you taken care of. Google LSA, absolutely, it's the best place to invest your initial paid ads dollars. Um, there's a good reason to diversify that depending on the market into something more local. Sometimes Yelp does work really well for some folks. I know in California it seems to work a little bit better. Their $300 a month program, whatnot. It's good to test paid ads for anything for 3 to 6 months to really see the value. If you can budget for 12 months, it's great. You can experience the full season. But typically, if I had, let's say let's say in a perfect world, Jason's awesome handyman. I've got 20 grand a month in paid ads. What Jason's awesome handyman would do, I would find out the cap of local service ads, Google LSA, Google Guaranteed. That's going to cap out, depending on the market, anywhere between 1,500 on the lower end, for excluding really, really rural places, to 10 to 15,000 for really big markets. I would find my cap there without losing a cost per lead of more than 40, 45 bucks. And then I would diversify the rest of that into Google pay per click. That would be kind of, it just underscores Google's the best place for paid ads because people are searching on Google. They have a need, they're looking to hire somebody. So having your ad there is the highest quality customer that's overall looking for the best quality service rather than the best price. When you compare that with social media, which these days I call social media an entertainment platform. People are not in the right headspace to be buying right then and there. It's great for building reputation, engagement, um, relationships, trust with your audience. And once you have that relationship and they're seeing your posts, you're engaging in local community groups there. You can absolutely see an ROI as far as spending ads there. Lots of tire kickers, really low lead quality. It's not something I diversify into until way later in the life cycle of paid ads and largely focused on brand awareness because it is pretty cheap ads to get in front of a local community on Facebook. Um, that was a really long answer to your $700 in Google Ads question. I hope that that was helpful. Okay. Best handyman in the city type programs. Oh, good question, Chad. Again, that's going to be dependent on the market. So Chad asked about spending paid ads budget into best handyman in the city. So you'll see these from Angie's List, Home Advisor. In general, I do not recommend that company at all. It does work for a small slice of people. It's low barrier to entry. You can generate leads. They're just very expensive and low quality. Yelp, you basically pay typically 300 to 350 a month is the going rate now for these companies to get on the best handyman in this market. Um, they're a good kind of short-term solution, or if you're kind of looking for other ways to diversify an ad budget that is otherwise not being spent, I would recommend when you do try out any of those type of programs, stick with it for at least 3 to 6 months. Again, I'm a huge advocate of any advertising, 12 months. You need to understand the seasonality of it and the true long-term ROI. But in general, LSA, Google LSA is still going to be a better bet in most markets. And again, most markets, because at the end of the day, if you do test and Yelp is just crazy great leads and customers, Awesome. For most, it's not going to be the case, especially when you're charging more premium prices. Yeah, Angie's List. Gosh, I'm blanking on the original name of Home Advisor. When a company has to rebrand throughout their life cycle as part of their marketing strategy because they lose so much reputation, for me, it's a red flag. But yeah, it used to work really, really great. God, what was Home Advisor originally called? It was like so easy for contractors back then. You got a you got a basic website, you put out a bunch of directory listings and got up on Angie's List, Home Advisor, and you were just maybe some yellow pages and you're just drowning in work. A little bit more competitive these days. Yeah, David, good point there. Uh, these kind of lists, Yelp, Angie's List, Home Advisor, they can be great kind of entry level when you don't have a website, when you don't have, you're just trying to figure everything out, right? It's like, I got some money to splash around. I want to get some traction going. I'm getting referred to friends, family, neighbors. I'm in the Facebook groups. I'm getting called like crazy by this Angie gal. I'll slide $300 a month and then make sure though now they've got a 12-month contract. If you want to cancel early, you got to buy out. Last I heard, just the other week, 50% of the remaining contract or something like that. Thumbtack is also a really great entry level marketing vehicle. It's a pay per lead. In some markets, it's absolutely fantastic, actually. Service Magic, that was it, Alan. Thanks, bro. Um, yeah, Thumbtack also has some like cool little hacks that you can do. There's a guy in LA I talked to years ago, charging 175 an hour and 100% Thumbtack. I was just blown away. But he would charge travel time in his hourly. He was really transparent on his page. Like his pricing was literally all caps at the top. My hourly rate is 175. Please do not contact me if you do not like if that doesn't sound good to you. So really clear expectations on pricing is really important for Thumbtack because the lead quality can be abysmal. And also, like with most profiles and website, personality is really important. Your profile image, don't use your logo. Certainly don't just put a picture of a toilet. My favorite kind of cover photo, just a handyman photo of a toilet, or a piece of drywall. Put a headshot, bright smiley face behind the business. That will increase the engagement and decrease your lead cost on any pay per lead platform, Thumbtack included. It's also going to increase conversion rate on Google, on your website. So personality is huge. But Thumbtack, I thought a cool little hack from this guy was really clear pricing, obviously great reviews, and he's got a nice bright smiley face filling out that whole circle. So he really stands out in the list when people are looking around. Any other questions, guys, I can help y'all with? Thumbtack in Canada. I guess I just assumed that they were, Chad. I'm not too sure, man. Yeah. We'll see if Thumbtack's a friend.
Sounds like you need to move to America.
Well, being 25% Canadian myself, it is very beautiful up there and the people are quite friendly. Well, what's that coffee joint too? You can buy their brand here. Anyway,
Oh yeah, that one I know what you're talking about.
Tim Hortons.
Paul, no,
It's Tim
Tim
Hortons.
Hortons or something like that.
Yeah,
Hortons, that's
yeah.
one. Yeah.
It's my favorite, actually.
Tim Hortons, Edward
Yeah.
knows.
Chad says America,
Marca.
America, America.
Folgers are bust.
Oh, it's also called Timmy's. There you go. I'd call it Timmy's.
Oh, Timmy's, Tim Hortons, okay.
Go to Timmy's.
Nice. I bet you never didn't expect to learn that today on the webinar. All right, guys. I'll sit here in silence for another minute, but I have my limits myself in sitting in silence and being on the screen. Any other questions, whether it's about AI optimization, SEO, marketing, business, whatever it is, I'm here for it. And Alan,
I think
always here for it.
one thing you talked about a while ago, I think it'd be interesting. What's the value? Because it used to be like, posting on social media was like huge. but Google posting is like way more important now than that, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Google posting is something you could do. It's kind of like it's a Facebook post to your Google page. It actually has impact on your ranking. Google, I always use the expression feed the beast. If Google has a little info box and stuff that you can provide more information about your business, if it's got a way to post, you should engage with their system and you will be rewarded in general. That's kind of the trend of working with Google. Google Posts is a far more effective ROI vehicle as far as the posting concept than organic post to your Facebook page. And by that, I mean, when you make a post to your business Facebook page, it is getting seen by very, very little people. It's only getting seen by people that have previously engaged with your page by commenting, liking, and it's only consistently seen by people who are consistently engaging with your page because Facebook's algorithm, they want to show in someone's feed stuff that they've engaged with. Um, so for most handyman businesses, um, their organic post to their page is just going to get seen by diddly, just very little traction. Your posts on Google not only do benefit ranking and kind of tapping the algorithm, if you will. Hey, we're an active handyman business. We're creating content on your platform, we're getting great reviews, and you can add to that with great websites and all these other things. But Google posts a far more effective ROI use of a posting time. But that's where Facebook community groups is almost like it's like a hack into getting in someone's algorithm because and this is from my experience as well. I'm not an avid Facebook goer. I'm just it's an entertainment platform, and I don't know. I just don't get a whole lot of value from it personally. But the local community groups, I do get value from. I'm always a member of wherever I've lived of my local community group, my town, my neighborhood, whatever it is, because people are posting about like for instance, in our neighborhood, we had a mountain lion walk through the street like not but a few minutes before we took our dogs out. Oh, it was kind of nice to know about. I saw it after, but it would have been nice to know about. So there's actual value happening in these groups, community events, happenings, garage sales. Most of these groups allow free business posting once per week. But the hack is that um, because people are jumping into these groups, like for me personally, I save my groups on the left. A lot of people do that. You click right in the group, you can see the group feed. I am a constant peruser of the Handyman Journey Mastermind Facebook group, the best group on Facebook. I'm a member of, my local groups here in Brookings, Oregon. And so because I'm going to these groups and I'm viewing them, Facebook knows that. And so they are feeding into my regular feed post from within these groups. I don't have to actually go to the group to see the post. That group post is going to my actual algorithm page. Anyone that's in the Handyman Journey has probably seen this. So the hack is that people aren't necessarily engaging with your business, but they're engaging in the local group. They're checking that out. So when you're feeding content into that group, you have a higher likelihood to get in front of those people, even if they're not a fan of your business or a page like. Um, Also, another hack in this whole posting thing, I kind of went off the rails here on Facebook, but Google is absolutely the best place to post in general. But when people are posting in the Facebook group asking for recommendations, throwing your name in the hat, not with just a simple DM me or I'll DM you or just putting your phone number or 20 bucks an hour, whatever that end professional response may be, post a really professional response, a nice headshot, a digital business card, um, something personal that instantly someone sees that and like, wow, that's a professional company. They're not going to be the cheapest in this thread that's just blown up by, the chuck in the trucks, the DMU kind of thing. And so whenever you piggyback onto these posts asking for recommendations with a professional photo, with a professional response, are 80, 90% of that group going to be ideal clients? No. 10 to 20% though, they're going to see that and be like, that's my company. I don't want that guy that's charging 25 bucks an hour and is okay with me helping him. you know? So you're going to stand out to your ideal clients. Also, their algorithm loves media. So when you post that kind of digital business card, personal photo, your comments very likely to be highlighted in the feed. As you can see a post, anyone's familiar with Facebook, there's a post, and then there's usually a highlighted comment or two. When you post a professional response with a photo, you have a higher likelihood of getting in the highlighted comment. So let's go back to the original. Someone's scrolling their Facebook feed. They aren't even in that local group. They see this post that's looking for recommendations for Handyman because they're engaging in the group, and then they see your highlighted comment right there in their main feed. So hopefully this all ties back into posting organically to your Facebook page. I think it's a good thing to do for housekeeping, just like, making your bed, cleaning your house every once in a while, is a good thing to do. So make a post every week, a couple times a month at least. That's good. Good housekeeping. But the actual good ROI on your time as an owner or good ROI on an office staff is to engage in these posts in these local groups. Do be posting once a week if they allow it, professionally responding to recommendations relevant to your business's services with that image professional response. Really great ROI on Facebook social posting. But back to Google, it has the most impact on like rankings. Just tons of people are looking at your Google profile, especially the personal cover image. I hope that was helpful. That was a lot all in one there. Calvin, great question, man. Um, Should I post questions and answers on my Google business profile for better SEO? You can absolutely do that. Oh, yeah, Lauren's already on it. So, yeah, you can do that. So you can actually have like a little burner account, like a personal Gmail. Ask the question in the FAQ section, and then from your business profile, respond to that question. That's something that we've tossed around doing. It's not like the most high impact thing, but that's again, a business owner's got 30 minutes and everything's going great, and you're working on FAQ content, just file that over the Google profile. It's good. Yeah. Oh yeah, Alan, thanks for the shout out, man. Every 2 weeks on Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast, so 5 p.m. on the East, 4 p.m. in the Central, and all you mountain folk, 3 o'clock. Every other Friday. We're going live on YouTube and Facebook and having a conversation, more like this FAQ section here. We're just hanging out, talking about handyman businesses, certainly more in the vein of pricing and business stuff could flourish up there. But our next one is this Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. All right, guys. That's about it on the time I've got here. Thank you all so much for attending. It's so great to see everybody. If you have any feedback, please, I'd love to hear it. Shoot me an email, Jason at Handyman Marketing Pros. Oh gosh, I hope my business coach isn't in here. I should have had this up earlier. We'd love to help you with your websites and SEO and AEO. If you don't have a provider yet, handymanmarketingpros.com. We've got our pricing, all that good stuff. You can schedule a call with me. Any questions, guys? Jason at handymanmarketingpros.com. I'd love your feedback. Any thoughts? We'll be emailing our next webinar, 2026 marketing plan, getting organized on that in December. Thank you all so much. It means a lot that you take the time to be with us today.